if you don't vote locally, you let a school board of people from other neighborhoods vote how your kids should be educated.
Right.
Who
don't live in your neighborhood, who could care less about your neighborhood.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And whether or not it progresses.
3, 2, 1, go!
What's going on, Felons Ain't Failures podcast? Y'all already know who it is. It's your boy, Big Bro Lowe's coming at you. I got my main man sitting next to me, Big Coop.
Big Coop, the knowledge kingpin. Here to bring...
Bring it. That's all right. Keep it going. Keep on. Hey, it's late.
It's late.
It's late. We
and
normally in the studios in the morning.
Yes.
It's late at night. It's been a long night, and we got some work to put in. But that's what we do.
That's what we do.
We put work in. We put work in.
Absolutely.
And we coming at you with this information, some serious information.
Serious information today.
The professor got some stuff going on, man, that we need to talk about because everybody know what we going through.
Yeah.
In this time right now, man.
That's right.
With these politics and these people in charge, man.
That's right.
These people who are not our people, Coop.
Listen,
they're not our people. They're
not for us. They don't have our best interests in heart.
They're not for us.
They're not.
They're not. So tell them what we're going to talk about, man. What tonight's topic going to be about?
The value of
I like that
voting.
already. I like that
value of voting.
The value of voting, people.
In the black community.
In the black community.
And the repercussions of not voting in the black community.
I would kind of say we feeling some repercussions right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Matter of fact, some people think that we're going to go back to what they call Jim Crow 2.0.
Oh, no.
Because of all the policies that are being passed to what we feel is to erase or the erasure of black history or black progress in this country.
Wow.
Yeah. And that is the direct result of a lot of us, and your question you asked me earlier before we got online, and
I'm gonna bring it back tonight.
The podcast is why are we not voting? How'd you ask that question?
Why are we not voting?
Yeah.
Just pretty much say why aren't we getting to the post? We'll get to that, Cooper, in a minute. But listen, voting. We getting ready to indulge into deep in this, man, because we really need to understand how serious it is when we don't and when we do.
That's right.
When we do.
That's right.
But I really want everybody out there to pay attention and focus on this topic right here, man, because a lot of y'all, a lot of us, all of us, we sit around, we watching TV, we're reading things, and this ain't happening and this ain't happening. We struggling here and we struggling here, and we looking for help, and we don't have the people up top to get it going for us.
That's right. That's right. Just think of voting as synonymous with your voice, a collective voice.
All right.
Right? Instead of us complaining, which we do, and that's okay, or voicing our opinion, how about if 1 million of us voiced our opinion and use that opinion to move legislation to our benefit? That's what voting does. It is your voice, right? The second thing voting does, it ensures the wealth of your generations.
Generational wealth, everybody.
Voting ensures the wealth of your generations. So when we think it's just one vote, no, the collective vote of all of us can move legislation to where we can benefit wealth-wise.
We can strengthen the future.
That's right.
With our voting now.
That's correct.
Listen, and you just said something a couple of seconds ago, about, what if 1 million people, and every time people hear 1 million, they think it's a non-reachable number. That's not that big for people. That's not that big.
Not at all.
With people sitting here and people sitting in Colorado or people sitting in New York and people sitting in Arkansas, that's a collective number that can be reached quickly.
That's right.
And make huge changes.
That's correct. That's correct.
So don't get fooled by the number.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if you get fooled by the number, then you're not going to want to participate because you think you can't reach it.
You think it's just, and you think your vote, like you said earlier, is insignificant.
Right.
You think that one vote that you are doesn't matter, but collectively 1 million people can matter.
And I was telling you, Coop, and just like I was telling you, I guarantee everybody else out there can say the same thing. What I said to you was, because I hear people saying my vote don't count. How many of y'all out there done heard somebody say, maybe even yourself, unfortunately,
Yeah.
say, my vote ain't gonna count. If everybody is saying your vote don't count, that go your million right there.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
and
right.
if that million would have voted, it would have counted.
That's right.
You know, so what that means is, yes, your one vote does count.
That's correct.
Just like you said, Cool.
That's
Your
correct.
one vote does count.
That's correct.
Right.
And we're called Felons Ain't Failures.
That's what we call.
Now, watch this. If your vote didn't count, why don't they let felons vote?
Wow.
Why do they take away the right to vote from felons if it was insignificant?
So apparently the vote counts.
The vote counts
The
because
vote counts.
the people who control the voting knew enough to say, if you commit a felony, we're going to strip away certain rights. They didn't leave voting. They kept voting. They took voting.
Wow.
Why did they take it? Because they knew that you could be one of those million people.
Absolutely.
But when you commit a felon, they say you can no longer be one of those million people. Now they can say we got one less person that can damage us in our way.
And that group, that you are talking about, also knew that they didn't have our vote.
That's correct.
They didn't have our vote. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
correct.
They was gonna lose.
That's correct.
Our vote was gonna go to whoever they was running against.
That's right.
You know, so
That's
yes,
right.
sir. Yes,
so,
sir.
So let's find ways to get them not to vote.
Well, tell me something, man. Tell me what you got there. Let's get into it.
So that goes back to the introduction of why we wanted to vote anyway. Now
Okay.
let's talk about a course. Let's talk about a course. You know, we got to go back to during slavery,
Right.
pre and slavery during that time, how we weren't allowed to even be a human.
Right.
We were 3/5 human.
Right.
Okay. So after slavery, during Reconstruction, we were thriving.
Okay.
A lot of black towns were thriving, like Black Tulsa, Greenwood, even Central Park was used to be called Seneca Village. These towns were thriving all through the South and all through the North, thriving black towns.
Cooper, I remember seeing pictures from like the 1800s where we were very well dressed.
Very well dressed,
Very well dressed.
driving cars.
You
You know, we had horses. We had
Right.
Listen, even Black Wall
we
Street.
weren't walking around barefoot and
No.
in toe up pants. Right.
Not at all.
Right.
We were thriving. We had
Right.
thriving black towns.
Right.
Matter of fact, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, what we call Black Wall Street, they had airplanes. They had private airplanes.
There you go.
They had those biplanes that plane those two wings.
Right.
That's what they owned.
Wow.
These were black people who owned. So they were very successful.
Okay.
Right. So what happened was, after Reconstruction, you have the Klan. The Klan was envious of black progress.
Okay.
So what the Klan did was the Klan put pressure on Southern governments that we cannot participate in politics. So no voting, no nothing. Now, I got to tell a quick story. This is something that we are researching as my family, the Coopers.
Okay.
So my grandmother, her last name was Holmes,
Okay.
from Aiken, South Carolina. We are researching her family because we think there could be a guy in her family whose last name was Holmes. In 1902, I believe,
Okay.
he was hung in Aiken County, South Carolina.
All right.
Now, there's not that many black people in the early 1900s that are named Holmes that are not related
Right.
in Aiken County, South Carolina.
Right.
So we think he was hung for trying to get a vote going or
Wow.
trying to petition for us to vote. And back then we were hung for that kind of stuff,
Okay.
right? So if voting wasn't important, why were we hung trying to vote? Why were we hung, Los, trying to vote? So the point I'm making is we're researching this guy. We think he could have been hung or lynched because he was trying to organize the vote in the early 1900s.
It amazes me, Coop, that ever since that time, our vote has been important.
Ever since.
Wow.
Because there were black villages burnt to the ground for trying to organize to vote. If our vote wasn't important, why were these villages burnt to the ground? Because everybody understood that if you get a voting block, enough people, you can change policy to benefit your generations, right? Right? So
Say
after,
that again, Coop. Say that again.
if you get enough people,
I heard you. I just want to make sure
you
they
can
heard.
change policy to affect your future generations.
Change policies.
Yes.
Our vote, if it's enough,
If it's enough.
if the number is right,
That's right.
will change policies for
Our generation.
our generation.
So your children, your granddaughter Chloe, and your what's the other granddaughter name?
Callie.
Beautiful,
Callie
two
Berry.
beautiful
Absolutely
granddaughters.
love them to death.
Their grandchildren. You right now can have policy that can help their grandchildren or your great grands.
See, in all these words, you know, what you're speaking ties into the voting, you know, policies. And the reason I say that because how many of us talk about the policies that are active today that we don't agree with?
Exactly.
We didn't change them though.
Yeah.
We didn't change them
Yeah.
when we could have.
But watch this. The ones we don't agree with, somebody else agrees with them.
Oh, absolutely.
They voted for
Right.
their generations. And I ain't
Right.
mad at them.
They did.
Los, I ain't
what-
mad at
They
them.
did what they were supposed to do.
Because we can do that same thing
Right.
with enough of our voice.
Right.
Remember, your vote equals your voice. So during the Jim Crow era, what happened was the Klan went to the Southern governments and said, hey, we're not going to allow them to participate in government at all. They can't buy land, they can't vote, can't anything. And they stripped us of our wealth. Right? And they put those separate but equal laws in place to say,
Right.
but really weren't, right?
Right.
So during that time, there was a lot of lynchings, a lot of burning of black towns, a lot of murders of us, because a lot of us are trying to organize to vote, because we understood that vote means voice,
Right.
right? That's a synonymous. That's a synonym.
Vote
means
voice. Put that under that Lopez.
Yes.
Yeah,
Vote
means
means voice. We understood that. We
Yeah.
understood that. So you kick it to the civil rights era, right? 1965. That's when we got our first right to vote. So slavery ended 1865.
1965.
1965. I'll be in general with the dates. I'm not
yeah,
being
yeah, yeah,
exact.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But approximately 100 years after slavery, we finally got a right to vote. And why did we finally get that right? Because enough of us organized and protested and marched and were killed. A lot of blood was shed. So blood was shed from post-slavery. Let's not even talk about slavery.
Right,
Post-slavery to the civil rights era to get us to vote.
Just to
That's
vote.
why I cannot not vote.
Right.
We cannot
Right.
not vote because too many heads were busted open.
Absolutely.
Too many necks were lynched.
Right.
Too many bullets were riddled in our bodies. Too many bombs in our churches.
Yep.
Those 4 young, beautiful black girls in Birmingham, Alabama,
Yep.
that were bombed
Mm-hmm.
by the Klan. And I visited that church, by the way.
Okay.
Blows your way to go there.
Oh man.
So too many of us were martyred. Hear that word?
Yes, sir.
Martyred. So I can drive my butt to the polls and take a pen or whatever and make a check mark. It's that simple.
And I mean, I hear you. I hear you, big man. You know, and because I do, the things that they went through.
Yeah.
You know, the suffering. You know, the murdering, the killings, the hangings, the rapes. I'm sure. You know what I'm saying?
God.
I mean, just so we could vote.
Yeah. And
You
why,
know?
why were we done so badly if voting didn't matter?
Absolutely.
It would have just been like,
And
let
that's
them vote.
That's what I was about to say because our vote has so much power.
So much power.
Still does.
Still does.
So much power back then, big man. They was like we gotta stop.
We
them.
got to stop them.
We gotta shut
by
them down.
any means necessary.
We gotta stop because we can't beat them. We can't beat them. We can't beat them.
By any means necessary. Guns, dogs, hoses, bombs, tricks, whatever. Lie on them, steal, whatever you got to do. Don't let them vote. Now watch this. Here's how powerful your vote is. The Kennedy family. We all know them. Started by Joe Kennedy.
Right.
And that's of course we had President Kennedy and
Right.
and then now the grandson, the youngest son is now our drug czar, whatever he is. So
Oof.
the father, Joe Kennedy, got his money from bootleg liquor. Everybody knows that's it.
Yeah.
But he took the money, he cleaned it up. Very smart man. He cleaned it up, right? Started these businesses. But what he would also do But he would hire lobbyists on his behalf.
Okay.
A lobbyist, somebody that would go to Washington or go to wherever your state capital is, and you would lobby. You would, on behalf of the Kennedy Corporation or whatever that was called, they would try to influence policy to be changed so the Kennedy family can keep their generational wealth.
Wow.
So voting is not just one act. Voting is a culture.
Okay.
Voting is a culture. So you and I, we were millionaires, which we are,
Right.
right? In spirit, and also in monies. What we can do, we can get together and we can hire or we can train or we can have lobbyists go to school, major in political science, right? When they graduate, we hire them as part of our staff. And their whole job is to go to Tallahassee and affect change during session. Or their whole job is to go to D.C. or to the municipalities that we live in and lobby on our behalf. While we're trying to work making this money, they lobby for us. And that lobby, if we can get laws passed, will favor our generations to keep our wealth.
Okay.
Because I hear people say all the time, we just need to make a lot of money. That is true. But if you don't have the cousins of politics behind your money, you're going to lose your money.
Right.
Because policy is going to be made till you can take your money.
Right.
I remember, we owned a lot of land after slavery. We owned a lot of land, a lot of farmland, a lot of beach land also, like Jacksonville Beach
Okay.
or Huntington Beach, California, different beaches in the country that were taken from us because we didn't have anybody to vote for us. We had no representation. So laws were being passed. Hey, we can take your land because here's what it says in the law.
Right.
Unjust law, but we had nobody to fight back.
Right.
Because we didn't have a voting block. So voting affects your generations. And because, for the most part, our generations of African Americans, for the most part, since World War II, has been in inner cities or apartment buildings that they call project buildings, we cannot affect change because we don't have money for generations.
Okay. So also, excuse me, what I'm hearing is not only do we need the power of our voting, but we need to put people in place as lobbyists.
Yes.
On
our behalf.
On our behalf.
Yes.
To go out and represent us, just like
all
you
the
said.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
All the time. All the time.
Right. Because even though, let's say we got the popular vote going, we win in the vote, we're voting for people that can make, somewhat of a change,
Yes.
but are they lobbying for us,
Yes.
I mean, hopefully they are.
Yes, but you need the lobbyists to lobby them.
Right.
The lobbyists to lobby them.
Right.
Hey, don't forget, hey, the Price Corporation put you in power. The Price Corporation needs you to do such and such and such and such. That's what lobbyists do. They go to D.C., they go to Tallahassee, they go to St. Peter, any other municipality, and they lobby. They, on behalf of whoever sent them, a corporation, a nonprofit, or group, right? Whether it be, a group of black moms or a group of black dads or a group of black doctors,
Right.
A nonprofit, they'll hire lobbyists. And you hire a team of lawyers also. Those are your lobbyists. They'll be
Right.
lawyers. So what we can do is we can send our kids to undergrad, then send them to law school. And when they come out, they'll be a lobbyist for us. And they go on our behalf. And they know how to write the laws and help, interpret the laws on our behalf. That's what voting does.
So
it's generational wealth building through our voice.
So to the community out there that's listening to our Felons Ain't Failure 42 podcast, listen, if you got kids, that are struggling like where they want to go in college and what they want to do,
That's right.
Hey, we could use some lobbyists, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
On that track, get to that
That's
track,
right. That's right. Absolutely. And here's something else why voting is so powerful. Not just on the federal level, like the presidential level, or even the state level, the governor level, the gubernatorial level, but also on the municipal level. That's where it's most powerful, right? School boards. School boards are very powerful because they determine, see, here's the thing. When you have your own voting block, then you can vote how you want your neighborhoods to be, how you want your schools to be, and then the monies from your homes and your taxes go to better schools, and then they go to better school boards. So now you got people on your behalf that are voting for your kid's education. If you don't vote locally, you let a school board of people from other neighborhoods
Right out, yes.
vote
Right.
how your
right,
kid should be
Right.
educated.
Right. Right.
Right?
Who don't live in your neighborhood, who could care less about your neighborhood.
That's what I'm trying
you
to
know,
say.
And whether or not it progresses.
That's
Right. They
There you
they
go.
could care less.
so the local level is the most important. For example, there are certain cultures, like for example, if you are a Hasidic Jew or Orthodox Jew, you send your kids to what's called Jewish school.
Okay.
That's just a known fact.
All right.
They got to go to Jewish school,
Right.
and they learn the ways of their culture in Jewish school. They're going to go to other schools also, public school or whatever, high school. They're going to go to Jewish school as well. Same thing in the Greek culture. We live in Pinellas County, Florida, which has the largest Greek population in Tarpon Springs, which is a small city in our county.
Yeah. They own everything up there.
It's an all Greek town, one of the longest standing all Greek towns in the country. If you're from Tarpon Springs and you're Greek, and we know some because we went to school with some of them, you got to go to Greek school. You go to Greek school and you learn the ways of the Greek culture.
Okay, stay there.
Yep.
Real quick,
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask, because you are a graduate of HBCU.
That's correct.
So is that equivalent? I mean,
That's a great question. The point
I don't know.
the
That's
point
why
was
I'm
go-
asking.
Well, the point I was going to make was
Uh-huh.
we can have black school
Black
or
school.
African schools in our neighborhoods.
Jewish people got them.
They got Jewish schools.
Greek people got them.
They got Greek schools. They got Russian schools. We can have the same thing, but that comes with a voting block, right? With a voting block, you can have public black schools or not public, but you can have what's it called when you don't have a public school? You take money and you give it to the my escapes me now. I apologize. We can start schools with either public funding or private funding,
Okay.
and have black culture schools
Okay.
because they have them in the Jewish neighborhoods, and I ain't mad at them. Why would I be mad at Jewish kids going to Jewish school?
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's what they do.
yeah.
Greek school.
What you gonna make get mad for? Yeah. They Jewish. Yeah. They Greek.
Go
Yeah.
do it. That's their thing. And I'm 100% for that. We should have our own schools as well doing that. But that comes with a good voting block, right? So we can have our own school board. So many things you can have. So judges are voted in.
Right.
Like if we don't vote, see, we just go and vote for the president and walk out. You got to vote what's called down ballot. Down ballot. Because the judges, you think the presidential race is bad? How about these judges
Right.
that they put in these judicial courts here in the state of Florida? And these judges determine whether our black boys go to jail or not.
And look at it. Look at a lot of the programs come across the news feeds and that kind of stuff there. You know, judges have blocked this and blocked that. You know, when we sit in line like, what?
Yeah.
But these are not our judges. We didn't vote for them.
Not, exactly.
You know, we could have voted.
We could have voted
if
for
they
them.
even vote.
We could have voted for them. So we can get our own judges in place. Everybody does that. Everybody lobbies for their own group, right? To have judges in place. Because these judges, so for example, say you know a judge. Say you golf with that judge. This happens a lot.
Right.
There's a lot of judges who golf.
Mm-hmm.
And they golf with a lot of other rich people. Say that rich person who he golfs with, say that rich person's son did a crime. Do you understand what that judge is going to do?
You
Hey,
better
don't worry
believe.
about it. I
Yeah,
got it.
I got
They
it.
got it.
Yeah.
He's going to look out for that kid because the father knows the judge, mother knows the judge, the school board knows the judge, and they voted that judge in.
Right.
So, of course, their kids are going to get more leniency
Right.
on a crime committed over a kid that judge does not know. Now, if I know a judge very well, which I do, we know some judges,
Yeah.
that I can call and say, hey, man, you know, so-and-so did so-and-so. Look, okay, I'm gonna look out. I'm gonna call the DA. We'll discuss this. And then the kid gets lesser time. I'm not saying that's why it's supposed to be, but that's the way it is.
Right. That's the way it is. I mean, it is what it is.
That's the way it is.
know?
That's the way it is. So judges, mayors, school boards, city council, local voting is the most important because it changes the face of your generations right now. Right now. Federal voting changes for the generations in the future. Local can change right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Local.
But
Local voting.
We don't even vote locally. We vote less locally than we do for the presidential race.
Yeah, I've seen people who didn't even know that there was a local vote going on. You know, they happen to get out and drive by a precinct that's lit up. And
Yeah.
like, oh,
Hey, what's going on?
what they doing? They don't even know what's going on. Cool.
Hey, what's going
They
on over
know
there?
Again, we're talking about
the mayor.
we're talking about the power of voting, man.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and definitely on the local level.
Yeah.
You know, it's huge, cool. It's so big. It could change our lives.
That's right.
People, a lot of times you think it's money that changes lives. It's not just that.
That's right.
You know, it's right here. It's something as simple as registering.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? To vote.
Yep.
Doing your research. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to vote for the right person.
That's right.
And go vote. You know, it's not a colonoscopy. You know,
Which I've had.
or whatever it is people don't like to go do. It ain't that, you know,
Dennis.
you go vote.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think there's no excuse not to vote.
A lot of people have been brainwashed. And again, you know, we love them. I mean, you know, we still need them. A lot of people have been brainwashed to think, like you said, that their vote doesn't count. Let me tell you about another reason, another way that we know our vote counts. There's a process that we do politically here in the United States called gerrymandering.
Gerrymandering.
I'm gonna explain that in my notes that I wrote down.
Okay.
Gerrymandering is the manipulation of electoral district boundaries to favor one party over another. Racially based gerrymandering dilutes black voting power by packing or splitting communities into districts where their votes don't count as much. So here's back to your example about 1 million voters.
Mm-hmm.
So what they would do is, these are people who don't want us to vote, right? What they would do is they'll take our neighborhoods, they'll cut them up in ways to where districts can favor one politician over another. So you might have a guy who you don't like, who's running for office, but they have the policy to cut a district to where he can get more votes than your guy.
Wow.
So instead of them just saying, "Oh, you know what? Everybody in this whole neighborhood come vote," no, they'll split the neighborhoods in half, especially like on city council or like state-run elections, like for the state senator,
Right.
or for the your state representative. They'll split counties in half, even cities in half, to divide the black vote. It's called gerrymandering. So they trace or line different districts to manipulate so the vote won't be as powerful. And it goes on all day, every day. It's called gerrymandering. And they've been doing it forever. And what it does is it dilutes our vote to where we can't have a say-so like we could with the 1 million. Like you say, the 1 million is strong, but they take the 1 million, they chop it up. And it's totally legal. It's totally legal. Because they vote for the districts. If you don't know how to vote for the districts, you'll just sit back and say, my vote don't count. But they vote for the district and they get to outline their district. So we want this district here. And then now that district you have to give your votes to that person.
So how do we
Education. Education is first. We should have nonprofit classes or free classes to the masses that let people understand how voting works. And it's not just a one-time thing, it's a culture, and how we can move our vote for generational wealth. We can move our vote for great education. How we can move our vote for great economics and politics. You know, these things keep us viable. You got to have these things, even religion. You got to have these things to stay a viable community. And if you don't participate in the politics of voting, you're basically a man who's walking around invisible. in the grand scheme of things, you actually don't matter. You matter as a person to God.
Right.
Politically, you don't matter because we need your voice to help us with the generational wealth for all of our kids, for Chloe and Callie, and for their grandkids. You know, it is so powerful to vote. How do we know how powerful it is? Because since we got the right to vote in 1965, there have been tricks to try to get us not to vote. Not to vote.
And unfortunately, in most cases, we fall for it.
We fall for it, you know. What they used to do back in the 60s was do what's called a poll tax. So you had the right to vote, but you didn't know that you could just go up and vote. What they would do, they would say, okay, you go to vote. They say, okay, if you can guess how many marbles are in this jar, you can go vote. And it might have been a jar of like 10,000 marbles. So they would say, how many marbles in this jar? And you would guess wrong. Oh, sorry, I can't vote. And we will fall for that, you know. And then they have voter suppression, right? Voter suppression to where they make you get all kind of crazy forms of ID, especially in the black communities. And they try to have it to where you can have voting like we used to have early voting. Nope, you can only do it on the weekend now.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so they try to suppress the time to vote, knowing that elderly blacks might not have the main means to do it through the weekday or whatever like that, where voting is a right, and they try to make it a privilege.
Do you have off top of your head maybe a situation or an era or where if we have that we got it right? Cause you know now I'm just gonna put this out here because this is what everybody probably thinking. Obama when he was president, you know, I mean, obviously because he was black, you know, and I don't want to put you on the spot, you know, that like say whether he was good or bad. I mean, but was that a period that maybe we got it right or?
Well, the thing about President Obama was his detractors, his opposition, plainly came out and said, "We want to make him a one-term president." They said it, you know, and they said it in the Senate, and remember the president. See, here's what people don't realize. It's amazing. We took civics in middle school.
Right.
There are 3 branches of government.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what the president says. He can say what he want to say.
He don't have as much power as a lot
we
of people
think. He's not
Yeah,
King George.
Yeah.
He's not King George. Right. He doesn't have a absolute say.
Right.
You know, he has to go through, like you said, judges can come and say, no, we're not doing that.
Right.
Federal judge can say, no, we're not
Right.
doing it. They can block whatever he says.
Judges that he probably put in office.
That he put in office. Absolutely. So President Obama was only one form of government, the executive branch, but he had the legislative and judicial. So if he says he wanted to pass something, he got opposition, right? But the main thing that he did well was Obamacare.
Right.
People might disagree with it, but here's the thing. This country has tried to get free health care since the 1800s.
Wow.
And the only reason that we didn't have free health care, only one reason, is that they didn't want blacks to have free health care. That's it. We could have been past it in the 1800s. Do you know there was a study out in 1800 that said that blacks are going to die out within 50 years or 100 years, I think. So we shouldn't give them health care. They'll die out, and then we'll be back to an all-white country again. We've never been an all-white country. Isn't that crazy?
We're going to do an episode, cool, because I know you got some stuff. But, man, it's rough being black, bro.
Listen,
it's rough.
We could have had free health care over in the 1800s, but they kept saying, well, blacks get this? Yes. Nope. They kept defeating the bill.
Just because we black, bro?
They didn't want us to have it. That's it. That's the only reason. So President Obama defeated something that's been undefeatable for 100+ years.
Shout out to Obama on that one.
Obama and brought free health care. But he was opposed on everything that then they say, well, he didn't do nothing for you. I mean, he if he had absolute power, he would have.
Right.
But he couldn't wield a wand because he understands the 3 forms of government.
Right.
He didn't go after the federal judges like somebody else is doing right now.
Right.
So, yeah. So I wouldn't say got it right. I said we tried. We tried.
Okay.
We tried because he was a president. Well, you know, his thing was, look, you know, I'm going to right some wrongs. and I'm gonna even out some things that have been done bad in the past. And here's the thing: when the oppressed try to get a voice, the oppressors think that it's not fair. They've been in the position of being a majority for so long that they think equality is not fair.
Wow.
And they fuss about it. We're just trying to get up to equal.
Right.
So President Obama tried to give us free health care, and he passed it, Obamacare, affordable health care is what it's called. And then he, like I said, he defeated something that was undefeatable. They tried to get us free health care since the 1800s. And they kept saying, will blacks get it? Yes. No, we don't want it. So, again, voting got that done. Voting got it done.
And so whether or not we got it right at that time, I feel that I can honestly say, and I've voted every year since I was old enough to vote.
18, I was 18.
But I feel like I can honestly say that after every election, we as a people, the black community, the black people, we had to say, enough of us didn't go.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. And let me just say something right now, as we wrap this up. I'm not talking a Democrat or Republican thing.
No.
I just want you to know that right now.
Nope.
Because in a lot of cases, I gotta say this, Democrats took us for granted.
Black people.
Yes, they
Right.
did.
Yeah.
And that's a
Because they automatically think they got us.
They think they got us.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about the power of us to vote somebody for our interests. I don't care who they are. Vote for our interests. If we had enough of us to say, here's what we're going to do. If you don't do this, we're out of here. Or you're out of here. Then they'll start listening. Let me get some websites right now that we can go to about voting before we wrap up. So you want to go to Rock the Vote. rockthevote.org.
My man Lopez is going to be putting these up here so y'all can see them.
rockthevote.org.
rockthevote.org.
Another one
I've
is
seen that.
vote.org. So vote.org, right? And another one is the NAACP Legal Defense Fund.
Okay.
There you can go and learn about, the value of voting, the value of not voting. You can see statistics about voting, how many of us voted in 2020 compared to 2024. How many of us didn't go to the polls in 2024 because, to your point, Los, they thought it's not going to matter. And we now see how it matters.
I think we put enough points out here today, especially you, Big Coop, you know what I'm saying, that your vote matters. I don't care if you're one person. Your vote matters.
Yep.
Your vote matters. And we have seen the results of the power of voting.
Yeah.
Starting on a local level.
Yep.
Local. It starts right here on the local level.
State.
People, when you pay attention to what's going on on the local level. When you see local elections coming up, there's more to voting than just the presidential election. You said that, cool. There's more voting. There's more to voting.
You got to vote
than
what's
that.
called down ballot.
Right, down ballot.
Down ballot. You got to.
People, everything that you probably sitting around talking about that you don't like what's going on in the world today, you got the power to change it.
Yep.
Got the power to change it.
Got the power to change it. But it comes with a cohesive, collective voice. Last thing I want to say, I wrote this down. Our ancestors marched, bled, and died for us, not even knowing who I was, hoping that somebody who looked like me would carry the torch. I'm not going to let them down. We can't let them down.
Yeah, none of us should let them down.
Period.
None of us should let them down. The power of voting, black people.
Power of voting.
It's really simple.
Yeah.
We can go out there and we can make the change. We in a pickle for the next 4 years or whatever.
We can still. Well, we got the midterm elections coming up right now. We got the midterm elections coming up.
Right.
We got stuff that's happening locally. Get involved locally first.
Get involved. Find out the things you don't like. See what's going on, and let's make a change.
And organize to change the vote.
We love y'all.
We love y'all.
You. Fellas Ain't Failure 42 podcast.
Cue the merch.
Cue the merch, man.
3, 2, 1, go!